All right, we are live. It is 7 o'clock Thursday before the Braves take on the Phillies for Game 4 elimination game. Just touch on that briefly. I think this might age like milk, but Braves, I have confidence. I think they're going to bring it back
You
to.
do?
Yeah, they're going to bring it back to Atlanta. Now, do they win the series? Probably not. This would be a very Atlanta thing.
So here's my take, and I don't know. I heard this, and I haven't been watching. Obviously, I've been watching the Braves, but the other ones are they all the ones that won 100 games are swept out of it now? Braves are the only ones that's left, and they could go out tonight.
I mean, they're on life support right now. Yeah.
So I don't know what that means exactly, but I think somebody smarter than I am needs to figure that out because that almost makes the regular season
Useless.
useless. It's almost like having two different seasons.
Yeah, I don't really understand it. And then you have the Phillies who they finished 17 games behind the Braves.
I don't know how many it was, but it was a lot.
It was a lot, and it was all for naught, really, if the Braves end up losing this series. So whatever. I think the NFL does it the playoffs the most sensible way. They reseed after the wild card round. Whoever's the lowest seed plays the number one seed. I don't know how the Braves should have been playing, and that way you don't have this where the Dodgers play the Diamondbacks and the Braves have to play the Phillies or fight. It would be the opposite. That way there's not like familiarity. It makes it more interesting. But whatever, baseball's stupid. They've always had stupid rules.
Well, here's the other thing that I mean the bats. That's the reason you gotta have pitching. That concerned me all year with the Braves. They could just out hit everybody and out slug everybody, but when you get in the playoffs, man,
Pitching's
I don't.
different.
I guess I'm was brought up on the '90 Braves, but you gotta have the pitching to make it in the playoffs, and clearly that has not. And the hitting, we haven't hit. What have we scored? How many runs in 3 games?
5, 6, 7 runs.
And they were averaging 6 runs a game during the regular season. So it's not all on the pitching, but you can't rely on the hitting.
No,
You have too many people striking out with people on base. You cannot have that in the playoffs. That's the reason I'm glad you're confident and optimistic. I guess I'm a negative Nancy by nature, but I will be pleasantly surprised, but not overly surprised. I could feel like it could go either way. I kind of look for Phillies to close it out tonight.
well, we'll see. I'm going to stay up and watch them. All right. So before we get into talking about the Georgia-Kentucky game from last week and then this week against Vanderbilt, which I don't think we'll be spending much time on that, go to the Instagram. It's Terminus, TERMINUS _ sports on Instagram. And then on Twitter, it's the same exact thing. I did not know that. It's the same exact thing. So go follow us on Instagram and Twitter. There's also a link tree in both, so you can get this on Apple Podcast, here, the website, and social media. So there you go. We're going big, baby. Boomer
Going global.
Yep. All right. So let's. I don't know how much time you want. I mean, what do you want to do the recap first, or would you like to do?
Yeah, let's do the recap.
Okay, because I don't know how much time we're going to spend on Vanderbilt, for God's sakes. All right. So Georgia played Kentucky. They won 51-14.
13.
What did I say?
14, I thought you said.
13. You're right. Go ahead with your thoughts. I had a brain.
Well, I did think all along that offensively it'd take a while for the team to gel because of a lot of different reasons. New offensive coordinator, new quarterback, running back. The room was depth was an issue. Receiver, a lot of people out, a lot of new guys. It was going to take a while, but I believe we saw the first indications of Bobo starting and Kirby starting to, let Carson be Carson a little bit. He's got he's an excellent arm, smart kid. He's been in the system, and it showed against Kentucky. Offensive line played a heck of a lot better than they played. Been good on pass pro all year, but run blocking has been inconsistent. But this was this was a different showing, so that's offensively obviously very pleased, and I think if this offense is focused and Bobo feels comfortable with back, I believe we can see more of that. I really do. I believe this offense is capable of doing that defensively. Much better job of fitting the run, stronger on the defensive line. Secondary, I think. I mean, of course, that quarterback. I know Mark Stoops. Maybe he should. What money he does have, maybe he should buy him a better quarterback because that guy is inaccurate. So that helped. But the secondary is strong with Georgia. So obviously the best performance of the year. Woodring kicking lights out. I'm glad that Kirby didn't listen to this podcast and pull him after he shanked a couple. But anyway, so overall, I thought it was a best game, obviously by far, that Georgia's played. So it's good that we're hopefully rounding into form and getting some of the players back.
Yeah, I think this is probably the best performance Georgia's played from start to finish. Now, I could make an argument that the South Carolina second half was probably at that point was probably the best they've played.
Sure.
In the second half. First half of the Kentucky game, it was nice to finally see a hot start. Georgia, they went on 6 straight drives where they scored.
Right.
So it wasn't until Carson Beck threw that really dumb interception. But again, whatever. The game was already in.
Well, here's the other thing. I don't know how many people realize that was 3rd and 17. So the guy was hot, and I like a guy a little bit of a gunslinger mentality sometimes. But on 3rd and 17, he was trying to make something happen. I don't have a problem with the throw. Do have a problem with letting him run it back so far, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But I'm not going to complain. I think he knew that. He said he was feeling himself, right? That's what he said.
That's what he said. Offensively, I think Georgia finally looked into form. Here's, I guess, the only complaint I've had, and it's not really a complaint, but this offense looks so much different with Ladd McConkey in there. And I don't know what's going on. I'm not inside the building, however much I want to be in there. I'm not in there, so I don't know what's really going on. But he didn't play that much against Kentucky. He played more at Auburn, it felt like, than he did at Kentucky.
Yeah.
So I would like to see him. I don't know if we'll see him this week.
I wouldn't be surprised if they shut him down or he has a very limited package.
I'd like to hang 60 on Florida, but it looks completely different. I like seeing Bobo throwing the ball to set up the run. Georgia had like 160 yards rushing with nearly 400 yards passing. If they do that every game, they're going to be hard to beat. I don't think anyone's going to beat us. So that was good to see. Defensively, I mean, Kentucky did nothing. Ray Davis had 56 yards rushing, and total they only had like 55 passing yards. No, rushing yards, sorry. So I thought that was really well. I mean, they only scored they scored a gimme in the first half because of the SEC refs, man. And it's not just the SEC; it's all over college football. But I guess because we watch the SEC more, it is atrocious.
What play? I'm trying to recall. It's been
there's Warren Brinson's roughing the passer that was
that was terrible,
not even close. And then there's disconcerting signals.
Oh yeah, it's complicated.
It's complicated. My ass. I don't care what
Kirby said.
I know what he said, but that's stupid, and I don't think it should be a penalty. That shouldn't have been a penalty. And then wasn't there a pass interference?
I can't remember.
I don't know, man, but they were that whole
roughing the passer was the most egregious. I don't know what all the rules are on disconcerting signals. Obviously, they're calling that more this year than I've seen them call it. Not just against Georgia, but against other teams. So.
Yeah, they did against A&M. But all over the SEC, it's been bad. The A&M Alabama game, it was not great. They missed a lot of calls. The blindside block too. That happened in the Georgia game, and it happened in the A&M Alabama game. Just
Well, you're talking about the blindside block of Cedric?
yeah,
Well, that was guilty as hell. That was well after the
yeah. I don't
play.
think there should be a penalty though. That's what I'm
You
saying.
don't? I do.
A blindside block?
Yeah, after the play's dead, the
No, no,
ball
no, no,
from
no, no. That no, 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 no. They called a blindside block on Georgia, not on Kentucky, not on Delaney, whatever his name is. It wasn't that. That was a personal foul. I don't know who it was on. I guess it wasn't on Cedric. I thought it was, but anyway, that SEC reffing has been really bad. It's been bad for the past 3-4 years. I'm sure a Pac-12 fan would say, the Pac-12 reffing has been bad. So if there is any out there, so that would be my only two complaints. I think overall Georgia played really well. It would be nice to see them do it again,
yeah,
and
yeah.
until the end of the year. So
It's time for us to figure out. We said it all along. You said it. I didn't really know what we had with this team, and they hadn't shown. I don't know if it's all that stuff we said about the offense not gelling, not being, maybe not being on the same page, or if this team really does just kind of, they know they're so good and they know that they're not going to give up and they're going to play. And as long as they don't get down by too much, they know they're going to have, but you do that stuff enough, it's going to bite you in the ass. So to your point, seeing some consistency game after game
yeah,
of just consistent execution would be nice. It'd make me feel a little bit better.
And here's the thing. Here's another thing from that game that has bothered me since it's ended. Everybody was talking about how Kentucky could upset Georgia. Now, I didn't have any faith in that at all. I thought it was almost impossible for them to do. Obviously, it was. But that was the whole narrative going in. Georgia in the slow starts, and Kentucky, they ran all over Florida, yada, yada, yada. And then Georgia beats them, and then it's, Kentucky's not that good. Georgia's schedule's still weak. I know you don't care about this type of stuff, but it does bother me on I guess, a fan level, because Kentucky is going to be a good team. I think Kentucky's probably only going to have one more loss, maybe two, maybe. They might. The only team they might lose to is Alabama. And Tennessee's a throw up, but anyway, Kentucky's a good team. They're going to end up being in the New Year's Six Bowl. I don't really want to hear about Georgia's schedules being weak and that Kentucky was not a good opponent. Kentucky's, if they were in any other league, or conference, they would be the top 3, top 4 team in whatever conference. And in some conferences, they would probably be number 1.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you, but at this time of year, just if you're in the SEC, just keep winning, baby. The rest of that stuff, and I don't give a rat's ass, a Frenchman's fuck, what the national media says about Georgia. Just keep winning, and let what you do on the football field talk for itself. If somebody wants to play us, we'll match up and play. I don't know. I don't get into all that. They got to have, just like everybody else, they got to have clickbait, and that's the reason Kirk Herbstreit and all these guys have these hot takes. Sooner or later, we're going to find out. Just let the games be played.
Speaking of where they don't have hot takes, dawnofthedog.com, where I don't have clickbait and I'm honest with everybody. And people don't like it sometimes, but I'm at least honest. So there's a plug.
A blog with integrity, damn it.
You're damn right. All right. You got any other final thoughts, Becky, other than Mark Stoops?
This is a few that I think that I want to point out, because a couple of weeks back I remember I was complaining about blocking on the perimeter, not really being where it needed to be. Oscar Delp, unsung, had a much better game, blocking especially. So starting to see him grow up. It just takes playing time. He's obviously very capable. So I thought he had a good game. All the offensive line, they showed a little more a little more fire.
Yeah.
This week. So we've been tough on them. So when we're tough on people, I like to be fair and say when they've had a good game. And I thought those two unsung groups and the linebackers had a better game.
Linebackers played a lot better game. Also, shout out to Tate for owning it owning
Yep.
it, saying he sucked. He's admitted it multiple times on his
I don't know
podcast.
if he said that exactly.
No, he said it on his podcast. I
Uh,
listened to it last night. Said he sucked. Said it was one of the worst games he ever played in football against Auburn, and he owned up to it. And that showed some leadership.
they're not robots, man. You know what I mean? And they're working hard. So I
No,
really
no,
yeah.
I'm not going to kill them. I'm not going to kill them because they try and they want to win. They want to represent the university in a good way. So I'm never going to really crush them. But that showed a lot of, to me, leadership and guts. So and I was kind of tough on him the week.
Totally agree.
So good for him. Also, Mark Stoops is a bitch. So with that,
You want to talk about that at all or no?
yeah, let's talk about it. I know we've talked about it off air, but if you're a Kentucky fan and Mark Stoops says that, I would be irate.
I'd be pissed.
Irate. It is. If Kirby ever said that, I think his head would be on a pike, probably. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
And here's the thing: if you're 9-3, Kirby, and you say that shit, yeah, 11-1. I'm not going to get to, but you know what I mean, or whatever. But that's the problem. Is that part? Look, dude. Why is it the fans' fault? You didn't. I mean, it makes it sound like you're. It does make you sound like a little bitch. I agree with you. As a Georgia fan, it doesn't bother me. Hey, baby, play by the rules that are out there.
Yeah, and it's not like. And here's the other thing that people get wrong, and other fan bases get really sensitive about this because they're stupid and they don't follow Georgia day to day, and that's not their fault, but they are retarded. I'm bringing back that word.
I don't think we're supposed to say that.
I'll say it, but they are. Georgia doesn't buy guys to come and visit and buy recruits. You don't get a piece of paper that says you get X amount because you signed for the University of Georgia. That's not how this shit's done. Kirby doesn't do that. Saban doesn't do it. Now, Saban hasn't adapted fully like Kirby has to the NIL deal, but you have to play to get an NIL to the University of Georgia. Players come to the University of Georgia because they want to be developed. They like the school, they like Kirby, and they have the best shot to go to the NFL. So,
and they want to win.
And they want to win. But that statement about that part is I will die on that hill. That is a wrong, stupid remark because you don't really understand what Georgia's doing and why they're so successful. Because I know the team's made up of 5 and 4 stars everywhere, but a lot of the guys that are on the team that are contributing the most are 3 stars or guys who don't.
Dijon,
Yeah.
McConkey.
Yeah.
I don't think they were. I think they were 3 stars, right?
Ladd might have been a 1 or a 2.
I think he got our offer before he got an offer to Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
And that's the reason he took it because he grew up a Tennessee fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those were the only 2 big schools that offered him.
So, a lot of the guys that are contributing to this team are 3-star guys. It's uneducated. It's dumb. And if I was a Kentucky fan, I'd be pissed.
It's also insulting to the Kentucky fan. I mean, I know that's kind of what we're saying, but take some ownership. It's the players who didn't execute. It's coaches that didn't have them ready to play. It's the coaches that didn't evaluate the talent the right way.
Yeah,
given more money for that. That's it's our hometown team, but why the hell would I give my money and go down to a shitty stadium and watch the Falcons' shitty product?
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that. And the Kentucky fans, these boosters and these teams that are 8-4, 9-3, this NIL stuff is all new. Those teams are going to be losing out because whenever they go back to those boosters for a second round of money after they haven't gotten the results, that's going to dry up like I don't like something. I don't like the Sahara Desert. They're not going to give anymore. They're going to be like, for what?
Well, yeah, and that the NCAA's got to figure. And I don't, I have no faith.
Not the NCAA. They're not going to figure shit out. I lost. I was already had it lost. But when they didn't step up during COVID, they got. I don't know why anybody would pay attention to them.
Yeah, but something's got to be done because you're going to get. There's going to be a massive disparity, and right now the narrative in college football is like, oh, well, there's a lot of parity. That's why there's not a lot of separation. No, there might be some degree to that, but most of the teams that have been dominating college football are in a new cycle. They're rebuilding. The only one that's kind of not is Georgia, and that's why they're number one, why they beat Kentucky 51-13. So you're going to see the effects of NIL and the transfer portal. You're not going to see it this year. You're not going to see it next year. It's going to be 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. That's why there's all these big conference realignments, because they need the money. So if you're watching the 20 people that watch this, don't fall for that trap. It's the dumbest thing ever.
Well, shout out to Uncle Lou. He's had this topic on, and it made a lot of valid points. These colleges and universities are getting so much money now from these TV contracts and everywhere else. Why is it now incumbent upon the fans to produce and pay for your players? We're already paying out the yin yang for tickets and for concessions.
Yeah.
And we're going on the road to support you guys, and it's up to us.
Yeah.
And I know it's a public university, or most of these are. Where is exactly that money? I don't know, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but why is it the fans' responsibility to contribute to these, what do they call them, NIL group collectives?
Yeah.
I don't. It's getting out of control, man.
Yeah, high schoolers now can get NIL deals, which is crazy. But if I played football, that'd be great, because Cambridge definitely would have a sweet, shout out Cambridge, would have a sweet NIL deal. But oh well, times have changed, I guess.
Well, I guess so. But there's some governing body, and I really hope it's Tuberville's up. There's rumblings up in the Senate that
I have no faith in Congress either. That's what I'm
saying. If they don't police themselves, that's what's eventually going to happen.
Yeah, and then that's exactly what happened with Major League Baseball. So get ready for
what we got there. So
yeah, exactly. Steroids are good. All right, so
as far as I'm concerned, they could steroid up and their heads could pop off after they hit a home run around in second. I think it's good.
Yeah, steroids have anything to do with eye coordination. All right, so Georgia plays Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, I really pull for them hard. I want them to be successful. The only reason why, and it's kind of jokey, but also, they're an SEC school. They're one of the founding members of the SEC, and having Oklahoma and Texas in the league, I'd much rather see Vanderbilt succeed other than Oklahoma and Texas. So I will always pull for Vanderbilt as long as they don't play us. I feel bad for them. The only concern, I got a cough.
Mute button didn't work worth a shit.
Oh, really?
No, it didn't.
Sorry.
That's all right.
The only concern I have about this game is, that's why. My microphone's not even plugged in.
That thing's not working at all.
All right. Let's see if it works now. This is bad radio.
A friend would tell you your light moved around on you because it looks darker all of a sudden.
Yeah. Anyway, well, this is great. Behind the scenes. Anyway, my mic's not.
You get the editor to clean that up.
Yeah, we don't have one. All right. Well, my mic's not even working. So, anyway,
sound all right, except when you cough.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's terrible. The only concern that I have about this game is Georgia not sleepwalking in this game.
Very likely.
Right. Now I got the mic back. Yeah, it's very likely. You got to go into a construction site. They're literally guys in hard hats and neon green vest doing construction during the game. It's 11 o'clock, so they're going to be working. I could very easily see Georgia sleepwalking through this game and it being like a 34-3 game where it's just you're just counting down the clock to get this over with. And I think the players are too, because they need that bye. Tate and Zion, they talked about that. I totally understand that. they're counting it down. They want that bye week. They need that bye week before we play Florida. This game I could see just being a really slow death.
Did you see players coming in that maybe Kirby wants to create a little fire after the starters play part of the first half? He starts changing it up and getting some guys in there that doesn't have because let's face it, the guys that are getting a shot to play, looking to prove and put stuff on tape, they might play with a little more energy, and the talent level that those players have above what Vanderbilt has. We should be able to out-talent even with our second and third string.
Somebody on Twitter said, could Georgia beat Vanderbilt with their third stringers? Honestly, I would say yeah.
I would wager on Georgia.
I don't know what the line would be. It'd probably be like 10.
That's what I said, with no point spread. Yeah.
With no point spread, I think Georgia would, outright. But with a point spread, it would probably be like 10.
Watch them come in there and kick our ass. We're getting back on here next week.
Dude, the world would be falling if that happened.
It would be bad.
It would be really bad. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really positive to say about this game. I got nothing. I guess the only thing, here's the thing that we can look for. I wrote about this. Don the Dog, gonna plug it again. Check it out. We need clicks. We need viewership. Come on. Georgia hasn't allowed a touchdown, or Vanderbilt hasn't scored a touchdown in 5 years against Georgia. The last time that Georgia allowed a touchdown against Vanderbilt was in 2018. We were at that game, if you remember.
I don't.
No, we were. That's how bad of a game it was.
Was that the year we had Coley? 18?
No, it was 19.
Oh, okay.
19 we played up there to start the season, which was weird.
Is that the game? Oh, that's the game we went to up there. Was that the year?
No, we went up. Oh, geez. We went up there 2017.
All the years run together at my
Anyway, same quarterback for all three of those games that we just talked about. Yes, Stetson was in Mississippi. Justin Fields was the second string quarterback. Jake Fromm was the starting quarterback. Vanderbilt scored with 2 seconds left. They called a timeout, and I totally forgot about this because I went and I rewatched it because I was like, that can't be true. They scored a touchdown with 2 seconds left to go. They called a timeout when they got into the red zone so they could score.
I vaguely do. What's his name was the coach then, right?
Derek Mason.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that because I think that pissed me off.
Yeah. So I don't know. The odds are Vanderbilt probably scores a touchdown. It would be almost impossible if they don't score a touchdown. Like, the odds are against Georgia in that case for them to allow a touchdown.
Well, they're at home, noon game. And the fact they hadn't scored in what you said 6 years or 5?
Yeah, it's 5. They haven't scored. And then here's another thing. Georgia. Now, I don't know how true this is. I wrote this too. I saw it on Twitter, so I don't believe everything. But I couldn't find anything that said otherwise. But Georgia's looking to be the only SEC school to shut out an opponent 3 straight years in a row, which is remarkable. So I guess if you want to pull for that, there's something intriguing about the game.
Well, I'm looking to see, like kind of what we talked about at the very beginning. Can Georgia come out with an intensity level and execute offensively and defensively for a half, a period and a half, something like that, to where that would tell me that, hey, this team's different mindset than they were when we were playing, Ball State and UAB and South Carolina. So that would be, but I don't know enough about. I've watched them play Hawaii, Vanderbilt, the first game.
Yeah.
After that, I've just seen highlights, and I know their programs.
I've watched them play Florida. I watched them play Kentucky. That was it. And they didn't look good in either one of those. So, and really the only reason why they even scored on either of them were broken plays and turnovers. So,
what do you think the attendance will be? What does the stadium hold now?
I think it's like 20,000 people.
I'm going to tell you, from coming from a sold-out stadium, Sanford Stadium, and the intensity level, and then you're going through a noon kick with 20,000 people, It scares me. Of course, I'm always before the game. Last week I was nervous about Kentucky's, but that kind of an environment, I feel better about playing in Nashville than I would if it was Columbia, Missouri. I can tell you that at noon.
Hold on, I'm looking it up. So yeah, they have 28,500 people.
And that you're probably about right. About 20 will show up, maybe.
No, I think most of it will be Georgia fans.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I wouldn't be shocked if we see all Georgia. It might be 20,000 Georgia fans.
It was when we went in 2017. It seemed like it was all Georgia. I know what
And
all.
when 2019, it was a sea of red. So yeah, I mean maybe Penn State practiced in silence whenever they played Northwestern. I wonder if Kirby is like, hey, let's practice in
Did
silence.
Northwestern give them a half for a little bit?
Yeah, but again, I don't know. I would probably practice where there's no energy at all. I just where like there's no juice.
I don't know if you can play football that way, even in practice, man.
I don't know either, but it's going to be dead. I would imagine. I'd be shocked.
Well, maybe the Georgia fans will do like the LSU fans and drink them all out of beer and whiskey by lunchtime.
Maybe I don't know. We'll see. Is there? I mean, before we get into score predictions, can you think of anything else that you would?
No, I just obviously going into the bye, the main thing here is come out with a W and come out as healthy as you
Healthy.
can. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing.
I just want to be healthy. I don't want to struggle, and and get rested so we can.
I'd like to see a lot of our. I would if Brock Bowers and Beck and Dijon and Kendall, Tate, Cedric, if they're all in there and in the third quarter, and I'm not going to feel good about. I'd like to get them out of there and get them rested.
Yeah, the whole first string, I would just like to completely take out by the time the third quarter rolls around.
Me too.
All right. Here's a reason why you can hate Vanderbilt before we go. The 2020 game. There you go. There's a little bit of
They bitched out.
yeah, they bitched out.
Cowards.
Yeah, so I still hang that over them.
Yeah, real disappointing.
Yeah, could have been what that would have been the latest time Georgia ever played in Sanford Stadium.
That would at the time it would have been the winning the season, senior group ever, right?
Yeah. Oh,
that shot.
That got crushed by last year's team, but
Right.
last year's senior class. All right, let's get into score predictions. What is your final score?
I'll say Georgia scores 41 points, and I'll say Vanderbilt squeaks out 10. 41-10.
I was thinking 42-10. Georgia scored 62 in 2021. Georgia scored 55 last year. I'll say Georgia 62.
Wow.
I can't do that. All right. Well, we'll do 59-3 there. 59-3. I don't think Vanderbilt gets shut out because last time I predicted a shutout, it didn't turn out so great.
No, I didn't. I was really bad off. What was it? The prediction last week for Kentucky's game? I forgot.
I was pretty close to it.
You were closer than I was. I thought it'd be a closer game.
Yeah, I said, what did I say? I said like 34-10. You said like
24-10, 24-17, something like that, I think.
So, all right. Well, there you go. Really emphatic. Kind of like the effort hopefully Georgia doesn't give against Vanderbilt. Anything else before we wrap this up?
No. Hopefully the Braves will be playing Saturday whenever after Georgia.
Let's hope. All right. Well, go check out Don the Dog. Check out Terminus_sports on Instagram.
And Unishippers Atlanta.
Well, you just cut me off. And on Twitter, and then Unishippers Atlanta. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. All right. See you then.
All right. Bye.